This is Janelle from Janelle Pastry.
Hi.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
So what makes this the ultimate pumpkin pie?
So there are two things that really set this apart from your average pumpkin pie. The first is it's made from a whole pumpkin. Secondly, the crust is made with all butter, no other vegetable shortenings or animal fats.
For flavor.
Exactly. And flakiness.
And flakiness?
Yep.
Ah, very interesting. So what do you do with the pumpkin? How do you take care of this?
So the first thing that we're going to do is cut the stem off.
Okay, just off the top?
Exactly, right off like you would when you're doing a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin.
Perfect, I know how to do that.
Yes, so the next thing is cut the pumpkin in half.
Okay, got that.
Yep. Scoop the seeds out into a bowl. Make sure you save them,
okay.
Roast them, and have them for a healthy snack later on.
And you don't have to really scrape it down either, because
Nope, just enough to get the seeds out.
Just most of the seeds?
Exactly. Once the seeds are out, you're going to cut those halves in half again, so you're left with quarters.
Okay.
You're going to put the pumpkin on a parchment-lined sheet tray. The parchment just keeps it from sticking to the tray, and it's easy cleanup.
That's really important.
Exactly, quick and easy. Face down, you want the pumpkin to be flush face down. With the skin up, it almost creates a steam convection technique that cooks the pumpkin nicely.
I never would have guessed. I don't know what spices you put on. Anything?
No spices, no oil, just the pumpkin.
All natural, just pumpkin.
Let those flavors develop and be the star of the pie.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. And what you put in the oven, what temperature?
Bake at 350 for 45 to 50 minutes. It just depends on your oven and how big the pumpkin is. A bigger pumpkin would take a little longer. The best way to tell when it's done is to take a fork, stick it inside the flesh, and it should go in very easily and come out easily. The next step after roasting is to peel the pumpkins. Now usually the peel will come right off. You can just use your hands to peel it off. Sometimes they stick a little, so you can use a paring knife to help if that happens.
Got her all peeled. And now what are we going to do?
Now we want to make it smooth and creamy, similar to the texture of the pumpkin you would get out of the can.
Oh, really?
So one way to do it is to mash it with a fork.
Just smash up like potatoes.
Exactly.
Can I try?
Go for it.
Should I do it in a bowl or does it matter?
You might have less mess in a bowl.
It's soft, but yet it's still a little...
Has some texture, yeah. So there is an easier way.
Really?
A quicker way.
Oh, now you're telling.
For us professionals, we choose to go with either a food processor or a NutriBullet or anything, with a quick blade.
So you're saying forget about this method.
Forget about the fork. Let's use the quick, easy method.
Let's do it. I'm all about that.
All right.
All right, now we've got the pumpkin puree, and we're going to make the filling.
Exactly.
Now, what's in this?
So first we're going to start with the pumpkin puree, and to that we're going to add our other wet ingredients. Evaporated milk.
A whole can?
A whole can.
And then 2 eggs. How much vanilla and all this?
2 eggs, a tablespoon of vanilla. Once you have all of that mixed together, so it's important to keep your wet ingredients mixed together first to ensure that all of your ingredients are mixed well together and incorporated.
It just mixes much better when you put all the liquids together.
Exactly. So then we're going to add our dry ingredients, which are a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ginger, half a teaspoon of cloves, a pinch of nutmeg, and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And you can add all of that right into the wet ingredients, and we will whisk it all together.
For the crust, you say you add the dry ingredients first?
Add the dry ingredients first. So first we'll add our 2.5 cups of flour right in to the food processor.
Right.
Our tablespoon of sugar and our teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
And just give it a couple pulses to make sure it's evenly incorporated.
Well, that's it.
Should be good. That's it.
Oh, wow.
So the next step is to add the butter. What we want to do with this is cut it into small cubes. It just makes for less mixing, which is what we want. We want to handle the butter and the dough as little as possible.
So as you mentioned, smaller the better.
Exactly.
And it's frozen, so it's a little easier to cut too.
Right.
Do you like them smaller than that?
You can do about a centimeter by a centimeter, so you can even go a little bigger.
Okay. I don't know metrics.
That's okay. So that's about that big.
Okay, that's better. And you say 2 sticks of butter, huh? Would you add 1 and then a stick, or add all at once? You don't want to mix as much.
I usually add 1 stick at a time.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go ahead and if you can make it in.
I bet you this is delicious.
It is. So I give it a couple pulses at this point.
Right.
Just to get the butter coated in flour so it doesn't stick to itself once we add this second stick. So once we have all of the butter in, the biggest sizes we want to be about the size of peas.
Oh.
So I'll turn it on.
Oh, please show me.
Look at it. Sort of don't be afraid, you know, to touch it and put it. There's still a couple big chunks, so I'm going to do it a little bit longer. Not too long.
Really? You're not blending hardly at all, are you?
Nope. And that's the key to a light, flaky. That's pretty good. So at this point, we add the water.
A little at a time?
1 tablespoon at a time.
This is crucial. I'll let you do it.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So you want to avoid the ice.
Okay.
You don't want ice in there.
But it's important to have it really cold.
It is, exactly. So I stick it through the hole here, and then pulse as I go. So the hardest part about this is counting, remembering how many tablespoons
I'll do that for you.
Done. So at 6, we'll test it. When you look at this, that looks dry.
It still looks like Parmesan cheese,
right?
Sort of, yes.
So a lot of people would continue to mix and add water. That's where you run into mistakes. That's where you get a very tough crust, and you lose all of that flakiness, which is what makes pie crust so great, right?
Oh yeah, flakiness is it.
You want to grab some of the dough and actually squeeze it together and see if it holds shape, which it's doing pretty well.
Oh wow!
Right?
Yeah,
I mean
so like
that
Play-Doh.
looks like, exactly. That looks like dough. So I'm going to stop at 6 tablespoons. If it didn't come together like this, I would continue to add.
No, I thought it was high maintenance, but it looks like it's less maintenance.
So easy. I mean, pie crust is as simple as you can get. It's all about just knowing when to stop mixing. That is the key to a flaky, delicious pie crust. So you want to pull the dough probably 10-15 minutes before you want to roll it from the fridge. So start in the center and push out, go back to the center, pull back. So you want to roll it to about 1/8 of an inch, which is very thin. The way that I sort of tell is it's almost see-through. Now the way to tell when it's the right size is to take your pie plate, flip it upside down, and you want just about, 1/2 inch all the way around. Fold it in half, take the pie plate, take the crust, place that right in the middle, and then unfold. You want to leave about 1/2 inch lip overhanging so you can see the pie plate there.
Like a 1/2 inch over.
Exactly. So
Oh,
take.
see, I always cut it right to the plate. So that probably makes it more hard.
It does, right. You want enough of a
work
lip
with.
there, to make a pretty crimped border. So I take my pointer finger and my thumb, my other pointer finger, pinch the dough just like that.
The crust is done now. Now what's the next step on
The
it?
crust is done, so let's take that out of the oven.
I'll get to do it for you here.
Thank you.
Nice golden brown, but not too brown, right?
Exactly, so you can see it doesn't look raw anymore and there's just a little bit of golden brown color around the edges. So the next step is just to add the pumpkin filling. What you do want to do is bump the oven down 25 degrees, so we want it at 350.
Okay.
So all we're going to do is pour the filling
It already looks like a custard, doesn't it?
It does. Now, the rule of thumb is when you're filling a pumpkin pie, you want to leave a little bit of a lip because the filling is going to rise a little bit.
Oh, it does?
So yeah, and you don't want it to bake over. So fill it a little lower than what looks good.
And give it room to glow.
Exactly. So the next step is just to put it in the oven.
Oh, wow. No spices on top or anything?
No
huh?
spices on top at this point, no.
It's ready to go. That really smells good already. So how long do we keep it in the oven?
So this is going to take about 45, 50 minutes depending on your oven. So the rule of thumb for this is when the outside of the pie looks set, but when you shake it, the center jiggles a little bit.
Oh, the Jell-O effect.
Exactly. You can also stick a knife in the center, and when it comes out clean, it's ready
Same
to go.
thing as the brownies, you put it
Right,
in there.
right.
Perfect. So all we do is wait now, huh?
Gotta wait, the hard part.
All right, and smell it. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
it smells good. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. Janelle, did you have a good time?
I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Not as much as I did. Thanks for the pointers, and thanks for showing us how to make the ultimate pumpkin pie.